This is Jackie, and I'm here with Anthony Green, about to put forth a new album. We're here at Auto Bar in Baltimore, pretty nearby to your hometown in Pennsylvania. You've been making music for a long time, since 1997, from the very start. What do you attribute to your longevity as a musician?
Um, just not giving up. I never stopped. It was never a thing I did. I was never trying to accomplish anything. I was just trying to, other than just maybe just writing a song, and then wanted more of it. So, I don't really have a perspective on it because I'm so close to it. But, um, yeah, I just love doing it. So why would I ever stop?
Speaking of more of it, you've got Pixie Queen, your fourth solo album, coming out September 9th. How is this album an evolution from, say, 2008's Avalon?
I think with Avalon, I just had all these songs and I just wanted to do something with it. It wasn't really cohesive. One song would be like a blues song, the other song would be like was recorded somewhere else. You know, I think that was it was like my first experience with doing an album on my own, where I wasn't really collaborating with anybody in an equal sense of the word, where it was like kind of like whatever I wanted. Sorry, my upstairs neighbors are so loud. They're just
It's a good thing we've got microphones.
constantly dancing up there.
It could be worse.
Uh, so in that sense, like I was really just putting out like whatever I had. With this album, it was the first time I really sat down with Pixie Queen and conceptualized like what I wanted the album to feel like, what I wanted the textures of the album to kind of be similar. The themes to be similar, and I've always just kind of like. I almost deliberately wanted to put out records in the past that were like every song was a different feeling, and I was really confused back then about lots of things, and now I feel way less confused. There's a lot more clarity in my life, and there's like more clarity, I think, in the album too. So I think it's kind of a neat thing.
Pixie Queen is very cohesive, I would say. How do you keep sort of the campfire feel that you've talked about, as well as sort of this balance of just on the border of almost psychedelic rock?
Yeah, that's cool that you say that. Um, Me and Will Yip, the producer, sat down with the songs and with the idea of the album because I was really lost going into it with him. I thought I kind of want to make a big band album, but I also kind of want to make an album that's just an acoustic guitar and vocal. And so we try to split the difference and really showcase the acoustic and vocal, but make sure that everything we added to it, the drums, the piano, the bass, was just kind of like hugging the vocal and piano and adding to it, and not really, not mowing over it. Which a lot of times, in just experimenting and playing the studio like an instrument, you end up feeling like this cool new thing happens, and it takes away from something else. So that was the vocal and guitar, the rhythm were the foundation of the album. Everything was sort of built around that.
Is it easy to replicate now that you're on the road?
Yeah, it's great. It's actually, it's the easiest it's been. Because nothing on the album besides the bass is like electric. It's all acoustic guitar, piano, drums, and that's like how our show is. It's really stripped down, and it's heavy, but it's light, and it has like moments of like really stripped down, prettiness, and it has moments of like really built up, loud chaos.
Speaking of heavy and light, the album itself addresses love, but not just in the traditional fondness of love, but the ups and downs. What is the benefit of being so raw and honest on an album like this?
What's the benefit that you have when you got nothing to hide? Like when you're trying to put on like a show, or you're trying to put on a facade or something. There's a lot of work that goes into that. But when you're just being honest, it's simple, and it's visible. You can almost prove it. So for me, it's way easier to just go out and be myself and sing about what I sing about, and sing about what embarrasses me to sing about, and it embarrasses me to have people to know. And that way, I'm like actually emoting, and it's a real thing. And I couldn't imagine doing it any other way. It would be so false. It would be so noticeable.
Well said. Is there a track or two that your wife favors over the others?
I don't think so.
She just loves them all.
I'm not sure she's a fan of the record.
Why would you say that?
I know that she loves the way it sounds, but I think that the songs that I have played her, she's like, oh, this is a beautiful song, I love it, but I know, I think it makes her sad. I think the record kind of makes her sad, in a way, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad thematically a little bit, but for some reason, for me, it's always been easier to write about that stuff. And I wanted to write. I wanted to write about. I wanted to write about the things that I was feeling, and the things that what I was feeling weren't always like this great, like, yeah, I know this is how it's. There was a lot of questions, and there's, when you're dealing with addiction, when you have kids, when you're dealing with the stuff that we've dealt with in our marriage, it's not like some easy thing where the answer is right in front of you. You have to kind of figure it out together, or go your separate ways. And there's a lot of that where we're figuring stuff out together, and I put it all in songs, and I don't know if it's something that she really loves or if it's something that kind of weirds her out a little bit, but we don't really talk about it that much. I know she's proud of me. I know she loves the way the album sounds. I definitely get this feeling, though, that she thinks it's too sad.
Well, speaking of sad, is it cathartic or difficult to sing some of these songs on this album?
It's not really difficult. It's definitely cathartic, though. There's some songs that are difficult for me. Not so much on this album, but I think being able to do this I think having this job or whatever, you have to you have to be able to feel things in a deep way. I don't know how everybody else is. All I know is I experience emotions like in a very manic sense of the word. I'm very super manic highs, super manic lows, and when I'm playing the song about like my mom or like my brothers or about my kids, like I'm feeling every microscopic thing in there. Everything from when I wrote it, everything from how its meaning's transformed, and it's intense. It's intense, and I think that's maybe it's why I'm drawn to playing music, because it gives you such a thrill, such a rush. And I think that for when I watch musicians that are really in that spot, I get a rush, and I think that's maybe my appeal to like the people who like music that gives you that thrill of like, whoa, it's hard to explain, but I feel it when I listen to music, and I feel it when I perform music, and I can experience it shared with people in the audience when I'm playing, and it's like we're all going like, wow,
I'm sure that's one of the many things that keeps you on the road, and being a husband and a father of 3, soon to be 4, I heard.
I don't know what else I would do. I honestly don't know what else I would do. I sometimes think about like, oh shit, I'm having another child. Maybe I should try to be a teacher, a music teacher or something, but I couldn't do anything. This is like what I'm supposed to be doing. Quiet down!
So have you, and there's never a mastery to life or to any one issue, but are there some lessons that you have learned over the years of touring to kind of balance out the work, family, life balance that we all are sort of struggling to figure out?
Every time I feel like I take one step forward, I feel like I take 2 steps back. I've been really good. I've been really experimenting with not reacting right away to things that might either be good or whatever your perception of it is, and just trying to sit with it for a moment and process it before I just go with my initial reaction. Sometimes you have to work through something, process through something, but that's definitely been something that's come with age. I've learned a lot of patience from my kids that have really benefited my relationships with people creatively. Patience is huge.
Patience does not come easy.
It's supposed to be tough. I think that's this big misconception people have with life, is that the things that you're supposed to do are going to be like noticeable or easy or whatever, and it's not. It's going to be the opposite. It's going to be the hardest things you're going to have to do. And things are supposed to be hard. They're supposed to be difficult. They're challenging. That's how you grow. I was just like, hermit crabs, right? They feel this intense pain, like this burning pain, and then they crawl out of their shell and grow into another one. And if they didn't have that, they wouldn't know to grow. So they have to experience that. And we have to experience pain. We spend so much time trying to push it away and get comfortable. And no, man, bring it on. You want that pain. You need that humility. It's what we need to come together. It's what we need to break down our ridiculous egos.
It's how you learn from things. So what's some advice that you give to your little gods that are going to come hang out with you in a little bit?
Man, man, sometimes I try to teach them. I mean, we've been talking about not react. The not reacting thing is something that came from them. Was when you get really upset about something, you go react to it. You're just gonna make it worse. Like you have to sometimes sit back and process it and wonder, is this really bad or is this kind of a blessing in disguise? But they're teaching me how to manage my time involuntarily by taking up all of my time. So it's like it's hard to like give them advice, like because they don't listen to anything you say. They just see what you're doing. So I try to tell them, try to give them my best example or whatever. But kids are gonna learn from your actions. I try to do things and not tell them things.
That's a good plan. So speaking of time, what does the rest of 2016 look for you with Seosin and Circus Survive and your solo album and life?
Still trying to figure out some sales and stuff. I really want to do more stuff for the record, but it was kind of a thing where we just were like, yeah, let's just do it and do this tour, and we never really plan. I've had the solo record in the works for a little while to do this now, and I'm putting out some songs with my punk band Food before the end of the year, and which will be really fun. We're gonna put some songs up for free, and then maybe put out a 7-inch. And the new baby coming in November, which I'm really excited about. And I'll have some time. While the new baby comes, I'll be recording a new Circus Survive album. And then next year is super busy. I literally have stuff going on till like 2020, which is great. I want it, That's the way it should be. But it's weird. As a person who never really had a routine, never really imagined their life being this way, to sit back and to know that I have stuff going on for like the next 3 years. It's both like amazing and terrifying.
I can imagine. Well, stay tuned for much more from Anthony Green. Be sure to pick up Pixie Queen out September 9th. This is Jackie. Thanks to In the Key of Change and Chorus.fm.